Welcome to Season 4 of live.withcode.uk. This is aimed at GCSE Computer Science students, particularly those who want some more practice at some of the harder Python skills, and it's aimed at Edexcel GCSE Computer Science students if you want a little bit more practice for the on-screen Paper 2 exam. So in this series, we've been trying to work out how to load data from a CSV, a comma-separated value file. We want to store that in a two-dimensional data structure, represent that both as a table using string formatting, and then also represent it graphically using TurboGrafx. So at the end of last episode, we'd done some decomposition, so we'd said that we wanted to use procedures and functions, and we'd represented the data in a two-dimensional data structure. We hadn't actually loaded from a file yet. We'd just created a two-dimensional list, a list of lists, so that we can see the name of a pie and how many of those pies we've got, or how many we've ordered, and we've got a list of lists. And we also iterated through that list of lists to calculate the total number of pies by adding up all of these numbers. So today, I want to implement this thing, the one that displays a table. We'll pass in two arguments. First of all, it's the two-dimensional data structure, the list of lists, and also the return value from count pies, as in how many pies we've got in total, so that we can put that at the bottom of our table, just down here. So we are going to get rid of the text in here, and I'd like to display a table. First, we're going to wrap our table up with some equal signs. I'm just going to go all the way across here. I don't know how wide it needs to be just yet, but I'll start off with 50 characters. We might need to grow it or shrink it later. Next, I would like the name of the pie and the quantity to be in that table. I would like a pipe character, that's shift and the letter to the left of Z on my keyboard to go around the edge. But I'd like to pad this out without using lots of spaces so that it fills just the right width on the screen. So in order to do that, we'll use string formatting. So we'll have a string in here that says I want a pipe character, and a pipe character at the left, the middle and the end. And then in here I'd like a string, and here I'd like a string. So now we can say layout, which is that string that we've defined above, dot format, and we can pass in the data that we want to be displayed instead of these curly brace brackets, or the moustache brackets as I like to call them. So we want the titles, pie and quantity, but it's not padded yet. But because we've used string formatting, we can put a colon and say I want this to be 25 characters and I want this to be 10 characters. So let's think, we've got 25 characters plus 10 characters, that's 35, plus 3 pipes, that's going to be 38. Let's see if that works. Yeah, great. Next thing, I want this to be center aligned, and I want this to be center aligned as well. So we can left align things, we can right align things, or we can center align. Shift and 6. So we'll center align both of these, and then instead of a double equals, we'll put lots of minuses, but we'll plot that underneath here. So we've got the heading of our table, looking good. Let's put a comment to display to say what we've just done. Display heading. Next, I want to show all of the pies individually. So we've got a parameter here. We just display that parameter. You can have a reminder of what we did in episode 2, the last one. This is a list of lists. Each individual list has the name of the pie first and the quantity of pies, and then the outer list contains all of them together. So we can iterate through that and say for pie in our parameter called pie data. We can now just display that individual pie, which is now just a one-dimensional list. One-dimensional because we only need one index to say where we're looking within the list, as in position 0 or position 1. Okay, now we've done that, we can use our string formatting. So we can say layout dot format and pass in the first value in our one-dimensional list and the second value in our one-dimensional list so that they can be displayed in here. So that will be the name of the pie, which is this bit here, and this will be the quantity of the pie to go in this space and that value. So that's looking pretty good. Next, we want to show the total, but we want to put it in a table. So let's add a comment in to say what we've just done. Show each pie. Show totals. We should probably have a line of hyphens. And then we could do layout.format and pass in the word total and the actual total number of pies that we've got, which we've received as a parameter, because when we call display table, we've passed in an argument here that we've got as the return value from this function here, which has counted up all of the pies that we've got. So it looks like I've got a bracket missing here. Okay, almost there. Last couple of steps to put a line at the bottom. But I'd like this to be right aligned, so it goes right up close to the right hand side of this cell of the table. In order to do that, we're going to have to change layout to be almost the same, but this time it's just going to be right aligned instead. And if you really want a space in there, you could put one in like that. That could work, or you could change the like put a space in there and make it 24 if you wanted as well. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so next episode we are going to process the data in a slightly different way and represent it graphically using a pie chart. But even before we get to that point, we haven't yet loaded the data in from a file. It's hard coded in here, and it would be really nice if we actually loaded the data from a CSV file, because we can export it from Excel or import it from the internet or something like that, so it's going to be much more flexible. So next week we'll load the data from a CSV file, and then finally in this mini series we'll represent it as a pie chart.